Hi, everyone. Thanks for joining me today. Hope you guys are having a great time. My name is Nirajit. A little bit about me. I work for this company called RDP Associates. We have been in business for around 37 years now, majorly concentrating on government grants for Canadian businesses. This includes the SR&ED Tax Credits and various other grants as well. Basically navigating the funding landscape for Canadian companies. So how we help the companies, we not only help them, source these grants out, but we also help them in writing these applications and subsequent audit supports if required. So for time purposes today, we'll be looking at some of those major grants, some of the eligibility criteria, and if there's anything that we miss out on, you can feel free to talk to me via email, or you can connect to me on LinkedIn as well. So yeah, when it comes to government funding for Canadian companies, we broadly classify them into three different categories. The first one is the tax credits. These are more retroactive in nature. These are filed along with your corporate taxes. The next one is the grants. These are for your future R&D projects, and they're very specific in nature. So your project needs to be belonging to that certain domain for you to utilize this. The last one is the repayable contributions, which are no interest loans from regional development agencies like the FedDev. I've classified the funding categories into five basic types to keep it simple. The first one is the research and development. The second one is hiring. Again, when it comes to hiring, it correlates to research and development because it is in relation to hiring certain technical employees for R&D projects. The next one is export marketing for you to market in a new international country. The next one is industry specific grants, which could be clean tech, agri tech. So I have a couple of agri tech grants for you guys today. And the last one is the regional development agencies, which are, again, no interest loans from agencies like FedDev. So moving on to the innovation scheme of things, the first and the foremost that we are covering today is called the SR&ED tax credits. Again, when it comes to SR&ED tax credits, numbers wise, there's roughly around 20,000 claimants that do it annually. The most beneficial ones are the ones who are incorporated in Canada, being eligible for over 40% in eligible cost, which is their labor cost. So when it comes to an SR&ED project, there are two aspects to it. One is the technical aspect, and the other one is the financial aspect. So when it comes to technical rules, there's three different rules that the CRA has kind of set forth. The first one is the scientific or the technological uncertainty, which caters to the why component of the project. So why is the research being conducted at the first place? So, say your company is developing a new technology or innovating the product and encounters a barrier in development. Now, the solution to it is not readily available in any public domain. Like you cannot Google the solution, you do not have readily accessible materials to overcome the uncertainty. So that's where actually the SHRED project begins. From there, what happens is the systematic investigation, wherein you're following a systematic way of doing things, like performing iterations, formulating hypotheses, so on and so forth, in order to overcome the uncertainty. So this really caters to the how component, how the research is being done. So when the point one and two is usually carried forward, there is advancement that takes place. So it could either be like you getting to a stage where you're advancing the solution, or you getting to a stage where you know that the iterations that you perform did not work out. So as long as there is knowledge gained from it, that counts towards the eligibility. Quickly touching on the financial aspects here. So the major financial aspects, the major expenditures that are covered are the labor costs. So it can be your T4 salaried employees who are working on this R&D projects. It could be the Canadian contractors if you have had any, again, working on this R&D projects. It could be overhead costs. Again, this is strictly with respect to your T4 salaried employees, and it's calculated by a couple of different methods. The last one is in case you're in the manufacturing industries, if you are using any materials for testing and not using that for commercial purposes, then that could also count towards the eligible expenditures. So just to give you guys a very quick example for a food processing industry, so let's just call it NutriFoods. For example purposes, who are trying to produce healthy snacks, who have been in the industry producing snacks of all sorts, all sorts for some time now, and they're Canadian incorporated. So how they could qualify? So their focus is, into providing healthy snacks, right? So the uncertainty for them is to come up with formulations in order to produce these snacks. So it could be to reduce salt, it could be to reduce sugar, so on and so forth. And again, at the same time, maintain the shelf life and have the texture covered. So this is the uncertainty that they're facing. So what they do is, hire a research team to do systematic experiments in their facility. From there, what happens is they experiment with, other ingredients like, say, natural and artificial sweeteners or even plant-based fats to come up with those healthy snacks. And when doing this, they need to be using, advanced refining methods like, say, extrusion, optimizing the product formulation. So that's where, the experimentation, the systematic investigation comes into the place. And from there, irrespective of, the iterations going through in a positive way or negative way, they are advancing technology. So that's the process. And when they're usually doing these 3 points, if they're maintaining document in the right way of recording, detailed records of their R&D activities, the number of hours usually that is covered by their R&D team, so on and so forth, that's when they're eligible for a program like Shred. So yeah, so this was about the tax credit. So moving on to the grand scheme of things, this is a federal program. It's called Industrial Research Assistance Program, abbreviated as the IRAP. Maybe majority of you know about it, and some might have even claimed it. So this is for projects that are strictly R&D involved, more towards the commercial aspect. So if you're a company, say, who is looking to advance technology or innovation, say in the next 6 to 12 months, then this could be the right program for you. So the program is similar to SR&ED, wherein it predominantly covers the labor costs associated with your projects. So it covers up to 80% of your T4 salaried employee costs and 50% of your contractor costs. So what the IRAP Council usually wants to see is you being able to carry out this project on your own. However, the funds from IRAP will help you commercialize, get it into market faster, and indirectly lead to the community stuff like job creation, improving the environment, so on and so forth. So next, moving on to the hiring scheme of things, for time purposes, I have just one program listed here. So it's under My Tax. So this is a program for any Canadian companies looking to hire, like, say, a post grad from an academic institution on a certain R&D project. So basically hiring an intern for a R&D project. So this could be for a specific duration, anywhere between, say, 3 months up to 24 months. And what happens is you approach the My Tax Council, and they ask you to explain the project, and then you're given a list of academic institutions, and from there you get to select the person. And what happens from there is 50% of their wages are covered through this program. You'll be only responsible for the other 50%. So quickly moving on to the marketing and the export scheme of things. The first one that I want to cover today is called Can Expo. So this is a program that is currently open. So if you're a Canadian company looking to enter a new international market, then this program could be the right fit for you. So what's considered a new international market? So the less than 10% of your annual revenue must be coming from that market. And the funding is usually for export activities like, traveling to that country, developing marketing material, attending trade shows, so on and so forth. So in terms of the minimum financial eligibility criteria for this, you need to have at least 100,000 in your recent financial statements for you to qualify for the program. The next one is a similar program. It's called Grow Ontario Market Initiative. However, this is strictly for the food producers and the food processors. So what happens with this program is, your domestic marketing as well as export marketing costs are covered under this. So 50% of your costs are covered up to a cap of $60,000. And this could be for a variety of activities that's including product development, hiring someone for your market research, so on and so forth. So if you're an agribusiness looking to expand, say, domestically or internationally, then this would be the right program for you guys. So moving on to the industry specific funding, we do have some industry specific funding. And for today's purposes, it's going to be under SCAP, which is Sustainable Canadian Agriculture Partnership. They have a lot of provincial programs, which have sub programs that majorly works on your R&D projects, brand development, so on and so forth. So the first one that we're covering today is the Agriscience program. This comes again under SCAP. So this is for large projects up to 5 million. So if you're an agribusiness looking to do a research and development project, and you're in the pre-commercial stage wherein you need support on that, then this program could be the right fit for you. So the funding is usually for the prototypes from proof of concept to the prototype stage, so the pre-commercialized stage. In terms of the criteria, the research must fall within three specific categories. So it could be either climate change and environment, it could be economic growth and development, or any societal challenges. So if your project aligns with this, then you could apply to this funding. So what the funding usually offers is 50% of eligible project costs. So it could be your labor costs, it could be any capital expenditures, so on and so forth. And this is open for any for-profit businesses that are doing agribusiness, I would say. So the next one is called the AgriInnovate program. So this is again a federal program, and the limit on funding here is 10 million. However, this is not a grant. This is more of a no-interest loan to agribusinesses. So again, this correlates to the commercialization part of your product. So in case you're developing any technology and it is going into the market sooner, then this could be the right program. And you could also acquire and adopt new agri-tech under this program. So the types of costs that it usually covers is again 50% of the labor cost, or it could be your capital expenditures cost, or if you're hiring any Canadian contractors. And it's a no interest loan, so it's usually has a tenure of say anywhere around 5 to 12 years. So quickly touching on the strategy scheme of things. So government grants, should we be applying to it? Yes, it does form a crucial part for any businesses, but we need to be strategic about it. So the key thing to note is you need to be obtaining approval before you start, and the grant approval might take anywhere between say 6 weeks to 6 months. So it really depends on the type of program. Say the budget of the program is like Can Expo, for example, where the budget is lesser, then it could take the lead time frame could be anywhere between 4 to 6 weeks. Whereas the federally large programs like AgriInnovate, Agriscience, or even IRAP might take anywhere between 6 weeks to 6 months. So it is important for the project to align to this rather than wait for these grants in order to start your projects with that. So what affects your chances of success? Again, when it comes to grants, the source is unlimited. So simply applying and meeting the criteria doesn't guarantee funding. So what you need to be doing is a variety of factors: how well the application was written, what is the time that the application was submitted, was there enough funding left, so on and so forth. And the key thing to usually note is you need to be highlighting the benefits to Canada, like in terms of how many jobs that is getting created through this initiative, or any other impact on environment, so on and so forth. So that's the key thing, and this is a really good month to start that with, because the government's fiscal year is usually the start of April, and this is when the funding amounts are replenished. So there are a lot of programs opening, and this is the right time to seek funding. So when it comes to conclusion, I would say the decision to apply must be strategic. So you need to be looking at grants as a leverage, to take leverage of the initiatives that you're already identified. So the key thing to do that is a business plan. So you need to be identifying the projects that you want to do in, say, like next 6 to 12 months, the type of domains that they belong to, like the R&D, hiring, so on and so forth. And from there, the types of costs you're likely to incur in terms of labor costs, contractor costs, and so forth. And from there, what happens is you can get into the grants world. Like you can start researching about the grants and see what fits the criteria. And that's where the consulting firms like ours come into business, wherein what we facilitate is a grant canvas based on your business priorities. And from there, you get to choose the number of grants that you want to work, and we assess that eligibility criteria for you, and not only source this out, but also help filling up this application, so on and so forth. So yeah, thanks for listening. I'm open to questions if time permits. Otherwise, feel free to reach out to me via email. Yeah.